Well, hello. How are you doing? This is the S. Anthony Thomas. This is the S. Anthony Says podcast, episode number 496. And you know what, folks? Let me just say this really quickly. A lot of times I have an episode planned out, and then something will happen in the real world that will pretty much supersede the episode that I was going to present to you, and that happened here. You know, I was actually going to record the episode yesterday. I'm recording this actually Monday afternoon. I'm going to put it up right after I finish editing it. And I was going to talk about something else, but what I want to talk about is how much fun it is to win after someone said you can't. How much fun it is to win when someone said you can't, because you will see things like that and you will wind up rooting for someone who isn't even you, or maybe you don't even know them, but you will root for them anyway. And I'm talking about the Philadelphia Eagles winning the Super Bowl over the Kansas City Chiefs. If you watched a lot of the press, it was always Chiefs. Oh yeah, Eagles are there too, right? Even though they had similar records. Because of course, the Chiefs had won 2 Super Bowls and they were trying to go for the three-peat, which has never been done in the NFL in the Super Bowl era. So of course it's a big story, but it was kind of dismissive of the other team, which from what I saw is pretty daggone good also, right? But let's talk about the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's talk about him in college. He was having a very successful college career in Alabama, goes to the national championship game, sucks in that particular game, gets benched. Tua gets put in. Tua wins the game. Yay! And they won the national championship, and he was gracious. Even though he didn't get to play in the game, he showed love to the quarterback, the other quarterback, Tua, takes the starting job, has a successful career, gets hurt in the next championship game the next year, playing exactly the same team. Jalen Hurts comes in, wins that game, and he actually is essentially, if you think about it, he didn't get to play in the last championship game, but now against the same team again, comes back and almost picking up where he left off, wins the game. Imagine how good that felt, right? You lose your starting job and the next thing you know, you're in there, you lead a comeback, you win the national championship and it's with your hand. That's a great feeling. Goes to the NFL and everybody's saying he can't do this, he can't do that, he can't read defenses, all of that ridiculousness, which was obviously not true. He can't throw the deep ball, obviously not true, right? He has to listen to all of that crap and keeps making improvements. Imagine how good it feels to watch yourself get better and better and better, to get a starting job, right? Goes to the Super Bowl, plays the devastating Kansas City Chiefs, absolutely outplays Patrick Mahomes, but they lose by 3 points. He puts the picture of himself walking back to the locker room with the gold, with the red confetti falling down as motivation to get back and do it again. Has a tough season the next season, because sometimes that happens. A lot of times that happens. Most of the time that happens to the team that lost in the Super Bowl. The next year they kind of suck. Then this year happens. They have a tough start to the season. People are already talking about he can't do it. He sucks. He blows. His coach sucks. Everybody sucks. Everything stinks. They have a players only meeting and then they just begin mowing through everybody. And they get back to the Super Bowl against the same team, going for a three-peat. People talking about he can't do, the Chiefs are going to get him. And what does he do? The Philadelphia Eagles mow the Chiefs down. Imagine how that man feels the whole time looking at his phone and the lock screen is him walking away dejected after the Super Bowl. Played good, played great, played better than the other guy, still lost, must suck. But then he comes back, plays the same team and mows them down. That's got to be a great feeling, because it always feels better to win when people say you can't, to win when you're insulted, to win when you're an underdog, to win when people are saying all sorts of crap about you. Now, I've never won a Super Bowl, but I know what it's like to win when someone says I can't do something. And I'm sure you've won some things as well. People told you can't get into that college and you get into that college anyway. People tell you can't get that job and you get that job anyway. People say you're that particular attractive person, however they're attractive to you, whether it's personality or physicality, but that awesome person, you'll never have a chance with them. And meanwhile, 5 years later, you're sitting under a Christmas tree with that person and your twin children because you're married to the person they said wouldn't even talk to you. You know what that feels like. And I also know what that feels like. It's happened to me several times when I was doing stand-up comedy all the time, when that was my job. It happened to me all the time. I'll even go back to my late teens, early 20s, which is when I started doing comedy at 17. Wasn't even an adult yet, just had turned 17. And I had gotten pretty good pretty quickly. And in some of the places outside of my home club, I knew to do a lot more clean material. But in my home club, keep in mind, this is the 80s. This was an edgy time. Curse words, shocking material. That's what everybody was doing. And I was no different. I was a 17-year-old. Everybody's 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 years older than me. That's what they were doing. They were my big brothers and sisters. I fit right in. So I figured out how to do material like that. It was kicking ass in these clubs, right? And one of the people that worked at the club saw me and knew I was trying to get a job with a booker who had a string of places that I could get to and be cool. I wanted to get in those gigs, but those places were squeaky clean and they didn't want curse words and all that kind of crap. They didn't like it. They didn't want it. They didn't like it. But this person had only seen me in that club in those circumstances, didn't realize that the overwhelming majority of my material fit perfectly in those other clubs. Instead of minding their business, they knew the booker, heard my name being mentioned as someone who may be on those gigs, and called the booker and tried to tell the booker, don't book the kid, he's not right for the room. That person had incomplete information. They didn't know me. They just knew what they saw in that one particular club. That's why when you go to the doctor's office, they don't just take your blood pressure once. When you get triaged, they take your blood pressure. You sit down for 20 minutes, you go in with the doctor, the nurse comes in, takes your blood pressure again, and then the doctor comes in and takes your blood pressure again, because blood pressure is just what's happening to you right now. You may have missed the elevator, you're late for your appointment and ran up the steps. You may be nervous because you might get nervous at the doctor's office. It's a snapshot. And in this particular case, this person had a snapshot of what young S. Anthony did. This person called the booker and downed me, said I couldn't do it. Oh, I need to rethink it. Oh, don't put him there. That's not going to work. Oh, don't do that. Oh, that's not a good idea. Oh, no, don't do that. The booker called me and let me know that some people were concerned about me putting you in these places because, and he explained why. And when I heard the explanation, I narrowed it down to 3 people that could have made the phone call. And then I narrowed it down to 1 person because the other 2 people may have felt that way, but they weren't the kind of people that would literally actively call to try to damage somebody's reputation, call to try to get somebody from not playing a room, call behind somebody's back to try to snake them. Those 2 people may have felt that way, which I doubted, by the way, but even if they did feel that way, they wouldn't make that phone call to try to damage the kid being me. Process of elimination. I called the booker back and I said, dude, I know who you're talking about. Well, I really don't want to say. I said, you don't have to say. I know who you're talking about. Do me a favor. And I named the show where the most religious and where you needed to be the squeaky cleanest one. It was like the 3rd show in. I said, I can do the job and I can prove it. I'll send you a tape. But I want you to somehow, if you can, get that person to come to that show. But could you do that? Well, yeah, they live right down there. Good. Invite them to the show. You know what? Why don't you, invite them to the show. Don't let them know I'm on that show, okay? Okay. Do the first show in the squeaky clean place, crush it. Do the second show in another squeaky clean place, smash it. So was already confident I could do the job, but now I'm supremely confident because I had just done it twice. And this one was in a big place. It was like a fire hall, held about 600 people. 600 people that could be easily offended. I'm talking about, I saw people like this bristle when someone said, "What the hell does that mean? Why did my wife say that crap?" They bristled at hell and crap. Yeah, that's right. That's what I was working with. But I knew it going in. And I said, don't say anything to this person. Shh. And I was the feature. I was going to do a half an hour. Right? I see the person from the back walk into the place, smiling and having a great time. MC goes on, does very well, right? MC is a ridiculously squeaky clean person, but he's a squeaky clean person even in regular life. He was a friend of mine, and I literally saw him get his hand slammed in the door, and he said, "Doggone it." And then he looked shocked, like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Dude, you said doggone it. You're good." This next guy is a very young guy, very talented guy, up and coming comic in the area. We love this guy and we think you're going to love him too. Then he said my name. And as I'm walking to the stage, I made it a point to walk down the aisle where that person was. I walk past and I smile and nod at the person, right? Because before they made this phone call, I thought I was cool with the person. I really don't even think the person necessarily had anything against me as a person. They just didn't trust my abilities. And I really don't like the fact that they made a phone call to try to snake me. So I had my feelings about that particular person change. But now, 600 people, fire hall, beef and beer type thing, very, don't curse, don't do anything type of crowd. And now I'm walking on stage to do a half an hour. And I walk on the stage, I wave my hand, and I begin my routine. First routine, huge laughs, long applause break. And I'm watching the person's face because you see, they had only seen the act that I had done at the other club. They didn't see the other 90% of my material. Second routine, same thing. Third routine, fourth routine, fifth routine. Every routine was the same thing. And now it's time for the closing bit. And I pour myself into this closing bit. I was proud of this closing bit. I love this closing bit. And what happened when I finished the closing bit? Ridiculously loud, can't hear each other talk, laughter, applause break. I say, thank you very much. That's my time. Good night. Standing ovation. Didn't want me to leave the stage. I had to because I wasn't the headliner. I was the feature, so the headliner was coming up next. So I had to leave. If I was the headliner at that time, I would have done 10 more minutes. But, it is what it is. I walk off the stage. The person is looking at me with their mouth open. I walk past them, and should I be petty? Should I be petty in this moment? Should I let this person know subtly that I am aware of what they tried to do? Yes. I stop, I put my hand on their shoulder, and I said, you should trust people when they say they can do something. As you can see, that wasn't a problem. Next time, get more information. Patted them on the back and walked back to the back to sit down to eat my free food. And I'm watching the rest of the show, and the headliner was a great guy, still a friend of mine now, still a great comic. Not famous, but still working and still great. And this person kept looking back at me like, oh crap, he knows. Oh crap, he knows. Yeah, he does know. And I would have felt great coming off that stage after that performance. Anyway, when you get a long laughs and applause breaks and a standing ovation and they beg you not to leave the stage, that is one of the best feelings as a live performer that you could possibly have. And that is literally, I thought, as good as it could feel. And under normal circumstances, it would have been. But when the person who tried to make sure you did not have the opportunity, or who tried to make sure you didn't have the opportunity to feel that, sits there with their mouth wide open and their eyes wide open, watching you smoke the place. Big laughs, standing ovation. Don't go, don't go. Don't go, don't go. People hugging you while you walk down the aisle. That happens when they thought you couldn't even do the job. They thought you couldn't handle it. They thought you weren't good enough. It took what was already on a scale of 1 to 10, a 10, and took it to a 100. The ride home was fantastic. It would have been a fantastic anyway, but it was even better, 10 times better because of that. I ran into that person at the club where I was doing the dirty stuff. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to do the stuff I normally do at this place. If I decide to throw in a little word here and there, I'm going to do it. But I'm not going to conform and try to be like everybody else that's there, because they're grown-ups and I'm still a punk kid. I'm just going to do my act the way I do my act. And I'm hopefully I'll get the same response. Go on stage to do my act the way I did it for the other people. Rip the place just like I normally do. And I didn't even have to go and try to be edgy. I mean, if I'm edgy, it's going to be edgy because it's a unique thought, not just because I'm trying to be shocking. And I realized that person had actually given me a gift, because had I not went on that stage to try to prove a point that I could do that job, I wouldn't have had the confidence to come back to my original club and do what the hell I wanted to do. So I was mad at this person for a little while, but then I realized in their haste to stop me, they made that performance feel 10 times better, and they made me have the confidence to come back to my regular club and do what I do. So mentally, I forgave them. I know what they tried to do, but it worked out better for me. Now, did I become friends with that person? No. Once character is revealed, it's kind of hard to overlook that and forget it. But we became kind of cool over the years. I haven't seen this person in, this 2025? Good, I haven't seen this person in, good Lord, well past 30 years. I don't even know if they're still alive. They weren't that old. They're probably, I mean, if I'm middle-aged guy, then they might be in their early 70s probably. But the thing is, I'm okay with it. It felt better because I was doubted. Just like when I saw the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles get doubted on social media. He can't read defenses. He can't do that. He's not this, that. And he goes on and smokes the team in the Super Bowl. It took me back decades and decades and decades as a kid, a young adult, when I was also doubted. And I remember how good it felt to be proven right and to be victorious. Sometimes it feels better to win when you're doubted. Just remember that. If somebody's doubting you, just remember, if you win, it's going to feel way better because they doubt you. So, okay, they doubt you, do what I do. In my mind, I always say, in my mind only, thank you. Because I know I'm going to win. And I know how much better it's going to feel because of their doubt. You dig? Of course you do. All right, folks, this has been episode number 496 of the S. Anthony Says podcast. I am back. I want to thank you very much for coming here. I know a lot of you have come over from YouTube. You let me know. You let me know in private messages that, hey, man, I watch your videos on YouTube. I didn't know you had a podcast. I have 2 podcasts. I have this one, S. Anthony Says, and I have another podcast which will be returning in a few days called the S. Anthony Thomas Show. So if you like this, subscribe to this, check it out, spread the word about this, and go check that one out. And the same thing, if you like that one, subscribe to it and spread the word about that one too, okay? Much love to you all, my friends, and I will see you again next time. Take care.